Pike County Fiscal Court called to order. Madam Clerk, have a roll call, please.
Judge Rutherford.
Present.
Magistrate Anderson.
Here.
Magistrate Johnson.
Here.
Magistrate Murphy will be here. Magistrate Robinson. Magistrate Dotson.
Here.
And Magistrate Harris.
Here. We'll have the Pledge of Allegiance led by Magistrate Hillman Dotson. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I have reviewed the minutes of January 2nd, 2012, and Jeannie has looked at them also. We found those to be correct. I'll commend the clerk. You have them, of course, you have it in your packet. Are there any questions? If not, do I have a motion? I have a motion from Magistrate Roberts, second from Magistrate Johnson. Have a roll call vote, please.
Magistrate Anderson.
Yes.
Magistrate Johnson. Magistrate Robinson. Magistrate Dotson.
Yes.
Magistrate Harris. Judge Rutherford.
Yes. We don't have anybody that signed up for public comments. We have a check over on the easel to our left and your all's right down here of a check by Alpha Natural Resources to Pike County Government and the Pike County Senior Citizens Program for $32,964. We was here yesterday for them to deliver the check to us. We was able to go and pick the one vehicle up. Harry Childers, the Director of Government External Affairs of Alpha Natural Resources, Rich Nifta, Alpha Natural Resources External Communications Director, and we had Alan Dupree, who is their boss and is the head of the northern part of Alpha Natural Resources. We're unable, we have technical problems, and they had to order a piece, I think, for our system here today. But we have on the big monitor, if you want to look at, if you can see it, you'll see the vehicle and you'll see the presentation. But Carl Napier, I know that Carl is very elated. We've ended up with this, and she's going to bring up Eugene Gibbs in just a minute. But Carl, I know that you're elated that was able to get this company. Alpha Natural Resources, they are going to locate in Pike County. I don't have first-hand information, but second-hand information is that when EQT moves out of their location, they're going to move in. So we are elated that we have a Fortune 500 company locating in Pike County. Charles Carlton and I and others have spent a lot of time in the last month or so working with Alpha Natural Resources, and but they are going to be locating in Pike County, even though we was unable to accommodate them where they wanted to go was in Scott Forest Park because we couldn't figure a way out to amortize their investment with the type lease that they wanted for only 5 years. So that is good news. They are, as I said, a Fortune 500. Carl, go right ahead, and I know you all picked the vehicle up.
Judge, as you mentioned, we are elated to the fact that Alpha Resources did grant the request that we'd asked for. I'm going to, at this time, introduce to our chairman of our board of the Pike County Senior Citizens Program is Eugene Gibbs, and he can give the particulars about the grant, but we are blessed to have received that, and we're very appreciative that we have a Alpha Resources in our community, and that is very supportive of our senior program. So as I said, we're blessed to have them be here with us.
Carl, we're blessed to have Eugene Gibbs also, and who is backed up with his wife. They are elated as we are, but Eugene, payoff on that was see the faces of those senior citizens that you all brought yesterday.
Yes, Judge. Before I start, first of all, and most of all, I want to thank you, Judge, and the members of this court for your all support over the years, and we certainly appreciate that, and our seniors appreciate that. Now, as you say, Alpha, that Carol had applied for a grant, which we got right off. So that was for a new van. But so Carol decided we'd look at some other possibilities. So we got this van, and we got another one in the process. We talked about it this morning, bringing in for another one almost just like it. And it's going to serve another senior citizen center. I believe it's going to go to the Phelps area. This one here is at Blackberry. And Judge, as you mentioned it, we were so fortunate that we had the people from Alpha here yesterday, and we also had Senator Jones and Representative Keith Hall and Leslie Combs, and they came in, and we had a dozen senior citizens over here yesterday on this bus, and they were so tickled to know that progress has been made for them to get to and from stores and malls. And so, as an example, yesterday when we left here, we went to Shoney's. They all ate. And when we left there, one of the seniors said, "Are we going home or are we going anywhere else?" So I said, "Wherever you want to go, let's go." So they went to Penny's and Walmart's and what have you, and then we went home, and they had a real good day yesterday. And again, I can't say anything any better for Alpha for what they've done. They did assure us that they want to be in these communities, letting these people know that they're going to do what they can to make it easier on the property owners and the peoples in the fiscal courts and all our representatives. And it's so pleasing to know that we can work with these big companies, and it reaps back to our senior citizens, because I got a little motto that no senior citizen left behind. And with your all's help, and people like Alpha, and we had EQT before that helped us with some transportation, and you can't say enough about these people that help us. And you all, this fiscal court here, with 100% participation, it gives me pleasure to go out in this county and say, right here's the guys that helped us. These are the people that put forth the effort to get us funding for our program. And I appreciate you all giving me an opportunity to speak this morning. And again, Judge, I want to thank you and the members of this court for what you all have done for us.
Eugene, thank you, and thank your board, and Carl, thank you, because these coal companies, they need to partnership with us, and they have partnership with us, and it makes life better. This court contributes more to the senior citizen program than any county in the Commonwealth.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Judge, if you could, while you're looking there, I'd like to say that also I would like to comment on the great job that Carl has done with our senior citizens. It's not our first grant she's got. And Eugene's always going that extra mile to help them. And Eugene, I appreciate you. And, people kind of get burnt out after a while, but you've stayed with it for a long time now. And without you doing the things you do, I don't know whether the seniors would be able to accomplish some things that they've been able to do. And also, there's a lady sitting back there, Sandy Runyon, that we don't want to forget her concerns and all, Sandy, that you do for our senior citizens down at Big Sandy Ad. Without your group, a lot of things wouldn't be possible either. But working together, I think Pike County can hold its head up and say we probably got one of the best senior citizen centers in the state of Kentucky. We probably rate far and above any other place that you could ever go and see. So, with that said, I'd just like to say I thank y'all for everything y'all have done.
Thank you, Mr. Dodson.
Thank you, Magistrate Dodson. Next, we have on the agenda our Emergency Management Office and our Director, Doug Tackett. And we have one of the best emergency management departments in this Commonwealth, and in Doug Tackett and his staff. But the purpose of we have an order of affiliation that I signed the executive order, and I want the fiscal court to authorize this for the purpose of a search team. East Kentucky trackers that the ground and rescue search, rough terrain and rescue, evacuation of residents, assistance with communications, bad weather spotters, tracking of lost and missing individuals, high angle rescue, swift water and flood water rescue training. And Doug's going to explain to us in a minute, this is a regional approach to an emergency situations that arrive in these mountains of eastern Kentucky. And we know, Doug, that we've had plane crashes and we've had people that been in the mountains that's been lost, and we have many other things due to our mountainous terrain that we need. We have caves around the county, and they have training in cave rescue also. And in electrical emergencies, then each county can call them in if they have a long power outage, and they assist in that of getting food or whatever is needed. They take care of that. They also can assist the sheriff and be deputized to search for criminals in each county that they serve, and Doug can give you the county. They can also assist Doug in this county in regard to chemical spills, and this is a good undertaking that this county certainly needs to participate in it. So, Doug, if you would give more details than I have, the court would appreciate it.
Hey, this group came about. The founder's name is Clay Corbett. He's originally from Floyd County. He's also a Kentucky emergency management instructor for search and rescue and man tracking and managing search operations and a host of other classes. We did a BSAR class, basic search and rescue, in November at Kemper, and we had about 30 people in that, and it's really where this started at. The host of those volunteers are based in Pike County, and they want to take a regional approach, but they need a host county for an affiliation agreement. They've asked that Pike County be the host county. They primarily will be working here, but also in all of eastern Kentucky. They're part of the statewide mutual aid agreement. So
that's in the state plan?
That's in the state plan. So they could basically, in a disaster, be deployed just about anywhere they're needed.
And Pike County has the largest population, the largest land area.
That's
so
correct.
They would be the appropriate one to be that lead agency.
That's correct. And the bulk of the members are from Pike County as well, out of most of our fire departments.
Who does the training on this program?
Kentucky Division of Emergency Management. I've done some of the training. The founder's done some of the training. Just Kentucky emergency management instructors mostly.
Does any magistrate or the county attorney have a question?
I've got a couple questions. This is some very inherently dangerous activity that this group is taking on. I'm just wondering, does this agreement bind us to coverage under our workers' compensation insurance? I mean, who covers these people on when they go out on a call? They're called in by the county judge to go on a search and rescue, and somebody gets injured. Who covers them on their insurance?
With the affiliation agreement, the Kentucky Division of Emergency Management provides workers' compensation.
Okay.
Mr. County Attorney, you got any questions in regard to the compensation? Okay. Any other questions? Go right ahead. Push your button over there, chick, and go right ahead.
You heard on the news coming down here that you just told.
We're supposed to have some thunderstorms move in. There's a cold front coming through, and of course it's supposed to be 60 degrees today. So
But the wind's what they're giving on.
Yeah, the wind, but we also have a chance of some severe thunderstorms as well. But the wind's going to be the main issue with the front coming through.
Another thing I was going to ask you about last year, hopefully that's protection money, or Pike County or something, gauge of water or something about the
Yeah.
flood or something?
That money has not been allocated for use just yet.
Okay.
It's later this year sometime. But as soon as it is, I'll get with you and let you know.
Thank you, Dad.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? No questions? Motion. Welcome, Magistrate Murphy. We told him you'll be a little bit late.
He's going to start being on time.
Get on him, chick.
I had car trouble coming
Do I have a motion? Have a motion, Magistrate Johnson. Have a second. Have a second, Magistrate Robinson. Have a roll call vote, please.
Magistrate Anderson,
Yes.
Magistrate Johnson.
Yes.
Magistrate Murphy,
Yes.
Magistrate Robinson, Magistrate Dodson,
Yes.
Magistrate Harris.
Yes.
Judge Rutherford.
Yes. Madam Clerk, show Magistrate Murphy present. Next, we're going to take up a resolution, and I'm going to ask Judge Hayes to read it in a minute. But it's a very serious situation, and it's continued to be a very serious situation. I don't have the data before me. I wish I did, but we had how many deaths up there at that curve, Jeannie or Mr. Roberts? How many deaths have we had at that curve? 4. You had 1, 2, 3, 4 deaths at that curve that I know about on that curve, and you had how many accidents? That should have been in the packet for the magistrates today so that they could look at the data. But it is a very serious situation. The Transportation Cabinet has been made aware of this, and they have taken action. They have appropriated funding, but that's a federal highway, and under federal highway guidelines, it takes a considerable amount of time to let a contract on getting that problem solved. It's not going to be solved until the latter part of 2013 or the first in the construction season of 2014, due to how the system is required to work. So what we've done is we're asking that the Transportation Cabinet do several things. I know that used to, and Bobby Branham related to this since this accident, that there wasn't a guardrail on a certain part of that curve. Now, when they put the guardrail up, if they have an accident, it just goes against the guardrail, and who's involved in the accident is hemmed in. So this declaration just goes to, it will go to the governor and Secretary Hancock and to our legislators, who also has already raised a question and met with the secretary in regard to this very dangerous situation. Dangerous situation because their school, and we all know about and was blessed that nobody was injured in the school bus accident that happened on this curve. So, and it's right next to the Millard Elementary School. So, Judge Hayes, if you would read the resolution.
Resolution of the Pike County Fiscal Court, local emergency at Millard Curve. Whereas the Pike County Fiscal Court recognizes that an exceedingly dangerous road condition exists at what is commonly known as the Millard Curve on US 460 and Kentucky 80, and whereas there have been numerous vehicular accidents at said curve over the years, which have resulted in untold property damage, personal injury, and death, and whereas there have been more than a dozen accidents at this location over the past few years, and whereas a traffic study has been conducted by the Commonwealth of Kentucky and funding has been appropriated to correct this dangerous situation, and whereas the Millard Curve poses a constant, imminent, and extreme danger to the citizens of Pike County and the traveling public in general, and whereas the Millard Curve is on a state highway, which is not part of the Pike County road system or under the responsibility or control of the Pike County Fiscal Court. Now, therefore, be it resolved, we, the Pike County Fiscal Court, hereby declare an emergency exists with regard to the Millard Curve and request that immediate attention be given by the appropriate authorities to remedy this dangerous situation in the most expeditious manner possible. Witness this our hands, this the 17th day of January 2012, and executed, signed by each magistrate, as well as the county judge executive and the county attorney.
Any questions? If not, we have a motion. Motion at Magistrate Robinson. I have a second from Magistrate Murphy. Have a roll call vote, please.
Magistrate Anderson? Yes. Magistrate Johnson?
Yes.
Magistrate Murphy? Yes. Magistrate Robinson? Yes. Magistrate Dodson?
Yes.
Magistrate Harris? Yes. Judge Rutherford?
Yes. Next, we have on the agenda, we have Mr. Slusher with us today from the jail, and they have their commissary report, and I think the commissary report showed, if I read this right, Madam Treasurer, 127,048.78, and that was up from the year before, which was 119, and the year before around 98. So, Mr. Slusher.
Hello, Judge. I'm here on behalf of the detention center today to present the court with the annual commissary report for calendar year 2011. And also, if the court will allow, I'd also like to present to the court the Pike County Detention Center's 2012 Policy and Procedure Manual.
Any question in regard to the request, or Mr. County Attorney?
Has there been any changes to the policy and procedure manual from the previous year?
No changes or updates.
We need separate motions. We need separate motions on this.
We need separate motions on that. The first motion will be to accept the jail commissary report, acknowledge it's been filed. I have a motion for that. Motion from Magistrate Dodson. I have a second. Magistrate Murphy, have a roll call vote, please.
Magistrate Anderson?
Yes.
Magistrate Johnson?
Yes.
Magistrate Murphy?
Yes.
Magistrate Robinson? Magistrate Dodson? Magistrate Harris?
Yes.
Judge Rutherford?
Yes. The second is the request. Are there any questions in regard to any more questions in regard to the request? Mr. County Attorney. No question. To have a motion to approve. Have a motion by Magistrate Robinson. To have a second. Have a second. Magistrate Dodson. To have a roll call vote, please.
Magistrate Anderson?
Yes.
Magistrate Johnson?
Yes.
Magistrate Murphy? Yes. Magistrate Robinson? Magistrate Dodson?
Yes.
Magistrate Harris?
Yes.
Judge Rutherford?
Mr. Slusher, thank you.
You're welcome, Judge.
Thank you so much.
Bobby Branham, when you come around, we have the approval of a lease for the Financial Administration Cabinet, Department of Facilities and Support Services for property located at Coal Holler Island Creek. Is that behind the city facility that the state police and others use for a shooting range?
It's that shooting range there, Judge. It's the old city dump up there, actually. I think it is, up there behind the city's garage and area up there. It's a no-cost thing, and they've leased it off and on for, I think the county's actually leased it to them for a shooting range for 20 years or better.
Mr. County Attorney, then we would have no responsibility, am I correct?
That's correct. We've done this for
We've
several
done it
years.
for several
now.
years. Any more questions? If not, need a motion to approve.
I make that motion, since it's my district.
Motion by Magistrate Johnson. To have a second? Have a second. Have a roll call vote, please.
Magistrate Anderson?
Yes.
Magistrate Johnson?
Yes.
Magistrate Murphy?
Yes.
Magistrate Robinson? Magistrate Dodson?
Yes.
Magistrate Harris?
Yes.
Judge
Yes.
Yes. Next is something that we can solve a problem that a lot of work's gone into in the last few months. Judge Hayes, even the finance director, and Mr. Lyons, and everybody has certainly had concerns in regard to the maintenance of our sewer planes at the county garage. As you know, we've had discussions after discussions in regard to that. So the work has gone into it. I'm going to ask Judge Hayes, who for some time has spent a lot of time in meeting, and also we'll talk to county attorney because he's been involved in this from the beginning. But we know that the Mountain Water District, the contract we had with them. But I think that we're all going to be satisfied, and I'm talking about myself and members of the court, of what this committee has put together for us, and we'll recommend the direction we go in today. Judge Hayes.
Judge, as this court is aware, we assumed control, legal ownership and control, and therefore responsibility for 5 sewage treatment plants that Mountain Water surrendered back to us. They were owned by us prior to Mountain Water's involvement, but one of those treatment plants was at Ford Mountain behind the daycare center. That was resolved with this court's action on the approval and installation of the fusion plant over there. And so now we have 4 plants that are in operation at county facilities that have had no inspection and maintenance since we assumed ownership of those in late October. Now we are under legal duty to inspect and maintain those plants, and the last state certification went in at the end of October. That was done by Mountain Water, and now we're on our own, so to speak. There are 4 plants. Those are Dorton Park, Hardy Park, Belfry Courthouse, and Johns Creek Fire Department. We are required to have a certified company or person do these maintenance, periodic maintenance and inspections, and they must be done a minimum of once a week. Optimally, they would be done 3 times a week, but you can do them 2 times a week, and that's what we've opted for as a matter of savings economically. But we have solicited proposals, Judge, from 3 companies that we've identified in Pike County who are in fact certified to do the maintenance. Now, I don't want the court to get confused. There are numerous individuals and companies who are certified to install sewage treatment plants, but there are only a handful. I've identified 3 and know of no more in Pike County who are certified to do this ongoing periodic maintenance and inspection and do what the state requires that we report on every 3 months, every quarter. Of the 3 that we contacted for proposals to do this work, Judge, we only received a proposal from one of the companies. We urged the other 2, but they simply were not interested in doing this. And so we received a proposal from Wastewater Service and Supply. That would be Jimmy Prater, who's present in the courtroom. Did I get the name right? You're grinning there. I think I missed it, but Jimmy Francis. I don't know why I said Prater, but old age brain lock, I guess. But Jimmy Francis, who owns Wastewater Service and Supply, who made the proposal, is here. The proposal would provide the necessary materials and perform the labor for maintaining the 4 treatment plants that I identified. The operations will consist of general maintenance, chlorine and dechlorination tablets, quarterly oil changes and greasing, clear well scraping, weed maintenance, and general appearance. Maintenance will be done, this says 3 times a week schedule. I think that would be twice, but I'll let you respond to that. Water samples will be done on a quarterly basis with cost of lab fees added to that month's bill. And that's for the four parks that I've identified. Now, we asked for 2 proposals, actually. One proposal was for the maintenance, which would extend from January through the end of the fiscal year in June, which would be a total of 6 months. We also asked for an additional proposal that would be on plant repairs. 2 of the plants, and in particular Hardy Park, are in a terrible state of repairs at the present time. Mr. our wastewater service and supply has also made a proposal on that. And so we're talking about two different contracts, one for inspection and maintenance that I just talked about, the other for plant repairs on Johns Creek and Hardy Park. Now, you have in your packets a breakdown of everything that I've talked about here, the inspection report that was done by wastewater treatment, the plant name and location, the facility findings on each one of them, the repairs required, and an issue summary. That's all in writing. And then you've got the breakdown there on each of the two plants in need of repairs as to exactly what that entails. Again, questions can be answered if you have any questions about that. So what we've got is two contracts that we're going to recommend this court enact. One is for the maintenance cost for the next 6 months, which would come to a total of $12,480, and I believe the breakdown is $2,080 monthly. Now, that, in addition to that, there is some lab costs. They don't do their own lab work. That's independent lab that does that. That is done quarterly, so we'll need 2 quarters. That's $800. So that total contract would be $13,280.
Judge Hayes, relate that to our contract that we had on the maintenance.
I don't recall exactly, but that's about $1,200, Judge, less than we paid to Mountain Water for, if I'm not mistaken. It may be more than that. Now, there is some maintenance fees.
$4,800 is my memory is what we paid. 3,009. 4,000 a month, Judge.
Yeah, and you questioned that early on. You felt that was very high, and I agreed with you. And we began to be very concerned about that, even had they not given the plant the ownership
when
back to Pike.
When we signed this contract, they had more planes, and then as the sewer systems went in, they continued to get the same amount of money, but they was maintaining less planes. Go right ahead, Judge.
I'm sorry. All right, then, so you can see that total cost of $13,280. On the other contract that we recommend this court do is to pay the $1,503.80 for the plant repairs for the Johns Creek Volunteer Fire Department plant, $6,339.78 for the Hardy Park plant. That's a total of $7,843. With the lab cost built in, the total cost needed for the remainder of the fiscal year would be $21,123.58. The budget availability, you should have a sheet in your files which would show that. We have a sewage facilities contract maintenance line item, I suppose, and that is $21,681.61. So you can see we do have the money in that line item to do the plant repairs and the maintenance. We also have another line item which we won't need to get into. It's identified there: maintenance, grounds, renewal, repairs of $3,582 and a penny. So we're in good shape there for the rest of the year on getting these done. We do really need to move on this because another quarterly report is due with the state at the end of this month. I don't see those in the thing. Yep, we've got to go back and add some more here. There are some additional contract estimates, I'm just now told. I didn't have this on my summary sheet. I did have them in my file, however, and I apologize to the court. To get the Dorton Park plant up to speed, there's an additional $1,054.40. Put that down there, Rhonda. That should be in your part. That brings that plan into compliance for a total with tax of $1,054.40. materials and labor. And then there is an additional cost for the Belfry Courthouse plant. Total materials, labor, and tax would be $2,624.30. Now, Rhonda, my mental addition says with using that other fund, we still have the money to make this work out. All right. Now, as I say, Mr. Prater is here. He's been kind enough to come in at 9:30 this morning, and he can answer any of your questions with regard to any of this work a whole lot better than I can.
Come around, please.
Judge, I'd just like to make one comment,
County Attorney.
or clarification. The agreement with Mountain Water was going to be I'm going to round it off to $4,000, but it was for 5 facilities, and this is only for 4 facilities. So if you deduct going from 5 to 4, it would round it out to about $3,200. So we're still saving about $1,100 a month, but I just want to make sure we're comparing apples to apples on the cost savings.
Let me interject. It was $3,097.33 because I just did the division on it for 12 months. What's in the budget? So it's around $3,100. We had the 9 in the wrong place.
Okay.
Mr. Francis, we're always glad to see a company that's a Pike County company that we could consider doing business with.
I appreciate that.
We like to spend the taxpayers' money at home.
Yeah.
But we're glad that Judge Hayes and the committee found you, and we appreciate those who guided us towards you, Mr. Lyons and others that gave Judge Hayes that information. And you are certified, and you will file a copy of that with the clerk of the court when you get time, so that we'll have it as a part of the record. Do you have any questions in regard to the proposal that you've given the court?
No, I'm pretty sure we can take care of all these and bring them back into compliance for what we've suggested and come up with on the numbers.
Does any of the magistrates have any questions in regard to the budget and or the plaints that's been inspected and to bring them up to compliance?
I have a couple questions, Judge, not necessarily for Mr. Francis, but we do appreciate you being here today and being available to answer some questions. I guess my concern is kind of on a larger scale. Is this something that we as a court feel like we need to contract out? I mean, we're spending, looks like $26,000 a year to maintain 4 sewage treatment plants. I don't know what that works out to be per flush, but that's a lot of money, and I don't know if we have anybody in our Public Works Department that would be interested in a $10,000 raise or a $20,000 raise in order to take care of these systems, but there's a lot of money on the table that we're spending to maintain these 4 treatment plants.
Magistrate Harris, this court paid for and sent an employee of the Public Works to training at London, Kentucky, and it didn't pass the test. Evidently, he had his Class A, am I correct?
Yes.
He had Class A, which Judge Hayes said that's for installation only. So, but there are very few and far between, as Judge Hayes said, that they could find, the committee could find people who are certified. So that's the reason they ended up with Mr. Francis' company, because he does hold a certification.
Mm-hmm. Have we asked everybody internally if they'd be interested in pursuing this? I mean, everybody in the Public Works Department, nobody?
We've asked. No, Marley was the only one that tried, and one of the reasons he did fail the test was his wife was in the hospital with cancer, and naturally that laid on him. So that's one of the reasons. He is still studying to try to take the test again.
Mm-hmm. And when does he do that?
And I think that training cost us, Madam Treasurer, around $400 or more, if I remember. Because it was a 3-day.
Yeah.
3 days, wasn't it, Mr. Director?
Well, it just seemed, $26,000 to maintain 4, and I just know from experience what Mountain Water did to maintain the treatment plants before, which wasn't much. because you see the condition that they're in now. So I just want to make sure that we're getting a good deal for what we're paying, because $26,000 is a lot of money.
Judge, I have a question. You know, we had the same problem over at Ford Mountain at our community little daycare center a few months ago. So we were able to install the fusion system.
Correct.
For probably, what was it, Rhonda, around 10,000, 11?
No, it's ended up being quite a bit more than.
Well,
It ended
wasn't that
up
the
being
initial
what,
price that he
Rhonda?
started out around 10, 11,000?
So,
But
I don't know if we've paid anything on the 10,000. So far, we spent 6,706.07.
6,000.
With everything that was done over there, and that's including the rock that we hauled in, the addition of half a concrete septic tank that we broke and had to repurchase. It seems to me like, Rhonda, that thing ended up being above estimate at about 16 to 17,000. That would be a fair enough guess at it?
We had 15 in the line item, and so we're over about 1,000 or so right now, without having paid we only paid the contract yet.
Well, was that a learning experience, or was that something we're gonna have to do every time we put one in? But what I was looking at, you know, if you've got 4 places that need this system, it would be for a long-term thing. It would be a lot cheaper to go ahead and do the fusion system, get away from the plants, and maintain them ourselves.
Marley has a class in March that will take care of that. He will be certified after March to put those fusion systems in.
So, you know, that's just one question I had, if we can get them put in. I think that the dealer here that day said they were like 10, 11,000, and we were probably be able to put them in ourselves, you say after March, or?
Yeah, he has a class in March, and after that class, he will be certified to put those in.
Any other questions?
Probably need to do this to take us through July.
Judge Hayes, anything?
I just want to make one comment, we're in a bind, actually. There are significant fines that can occur with division of water. Fortunately, they've not come around and inspected. I think maybe because the last report, you've looked at it, I believe, reported no water. We're going through 3 of these, I believe. And I don't know how Johns Creek's getting by without any water going through it, but we've got to get these plants up to snuff and get them online and get them in compliance with the laws and regulations of the Commonwealth of Kentucky. And the county attorney mentioned we maybe need to get through July, and that's what I would suggest. And then we can take an overall look before July, Magistrate Dotson, at maybe what we can do in the future insofar as getting these things replaced by plants that fusion type or whatever the court would desire. But we really do need to move, because we've got a report due in 13 days. Is that right, to the state? And you say you can have that report up and running if we accept your proposal. But in any event, that's my comment on it.
Any other questions? No question. Do I have a motion to approve the maintenance contract and the maintenance costs and the plant repairs?
2 contracts or 1 contract? 2 contracts.
2.
Upgrading and the maintenance, is that correct? Hey, Jimmy, if you get time, there's a couple things that I needed to talk to you about. I had some questions about some homeowners, the treatment plants.
Uh-huh.
You work on those too,
Yes.
don't you? Okay, I'll give you a shout.
Okay.
And the agreement is 6 months, right?
Yes.
For 6 months.
6 months, yeah.
I'll make a motion, Judge.
Got a motion, Master Johnson, to have a second?
Second.
Have a second. Have a roll call vote, please.
Master Anderson,
Yes.
Master Johnson.
Yes.
Master Murphy.
Yes.
Master Robinson, Master Dodson.
Yes.
Master Harris.
Yes.
Judge
When
Reed.
you get ready to start
Yes.
on mine up there at Dorton, I'd like to be there when you come and look at it.
Okay.
It needs more clean up inside of it than it does more of anything.
Yeah.
It looks bad, and the fence is about ready to fall down.
That was one of the things on the agenda. The fencing.
Seems like it runs too much sometimes. I can go up there some nights, he'll be there, I'll stay 2 or 3 hours, and he'll still running when I leave. I don't know, would that have anything to do with it or not?
They may not have
Sometimes
it
does,
running on the
sometimes
time
it don't.
clock right now. It can run either full-time or on a time clock, and they may just have
It
it
don't
set
run all
now.
the time, it just
Okay.
runs at certain times.
Yeah, we'll take care of it.
Nighttime's when it mostly runs.
I'll get with you and get your phone number and give you a call when we come up, and,
Okay, I'll meet you up there.
yeah,
Thanks.
we'll take care of it.
Clerk, I need to make the motion, make sure that we're clear that we do the repairs under a separate contract.
Make a motion.
And I'll make a motion, we do that.
We have a motion, a second, have a roll call vote, please.
Magistrate Anderson?
Yes.
Magistrate Johnson? Magistrate Murphy? Magistrate Robinson? Magistrate Dodson?
Yes.
Magistrate Harris?
Yes.
Judge Ruth? Okay.
Ms. Stacy, do you have any bids today? No awarding of bids. Magistrate road work. Motion Magistrate Anderson, second Magistrate Johnson. Have a roll call vote, please.
Magistrate Anderson?
Yes.
Magistrate Johnson? Magistrate Murphy? Magistrate Robinson? Magistrate Dodson?
Yes.
Magistrate Harris?
Yes.
Judge Ruth?
Yes. Magistrate's comments. Magistrate Anderson.
Judge, I have no comments today.
Magistrate Johnson.
We're in a new year, I hope everything goes smooth and everything stays pretty good shape, and we get this budget in better shape.
Okay. Magistrate Murphy.
Nothing this time, Jeff.
Magistrate Dodson.
Yes, sir. Judge, I've got a couple bills here from the Phelps Fire and Rescue Department for fire dues for the Phelps Magistrate's Garage. I didn't know I owned a garage, but I guess we've got one over at the county maintenance lot, what it is, and the Phelps Courthouse for $100 each. And I don't know when we start paying fire dues or whatever. I pass these around to Jonda there, and maybe she can take care of them.
Madam Treasurer.
We don't pay subscribers fee. I think with their Class 9 ratings and everything, that should cover the Pike County Fiscal Court for all the funding they get, plus the insurance on all the vehicles. Any county-owned buildings, we carry the insurance on that. We've never paid subscriber fees.
Maybe Doug can relay that on their meetings and find out, what, I don't know what they're wanting.
I think they just send them out based on addresses. It's not necessarily.
Well, it's going to 180 Ford Mountain Road, but ended up over in the Phelps mailbox at the courthouse. I mean, the post office at Phelps. So I thought I'd bring them over and let y'all look at them.
And we don't pay them. We get them before, but we just cost them because of the funding we do give to the fire departments.
I know we do quite a bit on supporting fire departments, and hopefully we won't need to have a call at the courthouse, but you never know, somebody might fall or get sick or emergency. They do a good job, and they're always there when you need them. But if we owe them, I think we need to pay them. But if not, then send them a letter and tell them, that we don't pay subscribers.
Thank you, Magistrate Dodson.
And Judge Bobby was talking about some leases on buildings, and the VFWs wanting to know if they need to renew their lease this year with the court on the building at Phelps. Bobby?
Bobby, Brandon, come around, please.
I think we lease them that building that's basically across the creek from your office there.
Yeah.
That they have the DAV thing in, or VFW, DAV, whichever it is there, and they've leased it for, I think they've had a nothing lease on it. They questioned one day about getting a 10 or 15-year lease on it, Hillman, and I think the court's just been doing basically a year-to-year thing or a term of that court lease.
Well, I told him, I think according to Roland and county attorney, that we are not able to obligate more than, what was it, Roland, 3-4 years term of the court. And they were just wanting to make sure they got their lease renewed, and they're moving forward on a lot of work over there. And Judge, they wanted to tell you how much they appreciated the little deal you done for them here a while back, and they're getting ready to start doing some of the funerals.
Magistrate Dodson, Mr. County Attorney, will you assist Magistrate Dodson and Mr. Branham and see if we can accommodate this group from Phelps?
And one more thing, thank you, Bob. They're having an auction down at Frankfurt, or it's a sale for all their vehicles over on Barrett Avenue, 4-wheel drives, cars, and pickup trucks. And I don't know if any of the other magistrates are needing one, but I think we can start viewing them as of today, wasn't it, Bob and Frank?
I think they opened at 8:30 this morning. We've got an inventory list from them this morning for everything they've got available down there. Frank's got a copy of it there.
And I just wanted to bring it before the court and make it available where you guys will be able to purchase what you thought you might need, because I think you only got, a week or 2 weeks after you pick it out to pay for it.
I think they started inspection this morning. It runs till about the 3rd of next month, but we're going to be down there this evening and tomorrow to look through them and see what we've got, what they've got, and what might be worthwhile to use.
Would y'all need,
if we pick one, I think you're right, Hillman. I think we've got a week to get them the financing arranged. And that particular department won't let us have them until they get a check.
Well, I was wanting you to look and see. I need a 4-wheel drive pickup to push snow and something we can put a plow on the front of. We've got 2 judges, frames are eat up on them, and they're bad need to be replaced. And we just won't be able to replace them this year with a new one because of the money's not there. And if they can find a good used one, I would like to see if they could get me something for District 5 over there for our road department.
Hillman, I think Frank went to make copies for each of you magistrates and things so you can look over that inventory list. And like I say, Frank and I are going to be down there late this evening and tomorrow too. So if you see one particular one you want checked out a little closer, we'll check it out and drive it and see if it runs.
I'd like to make a motion, Judge, if it's all right with you, that the court approve them purchasing these vehicles with coming out of our road funds. I guess the way it would have to come with it, John, as far as our monies is not budgeted for anything other than that.
How much money you got left there?
Well, I believe we got about $66,000.
And that doesn't include any salt bills. I think there were some salt bills that came in Friday, wasn't there, Frankie? It's not been keyed in and posted yet.
John, I try to keep an eye on my budget. I don't like to get it to run out. And, if money's available, I don't think there'll be a real big expense on these trucks. I know I'm not going to be able to buy a $40,000 vehicle this year out of the budget. And that's the reason we're looking at going with a pretty good used vehicle in case we need it through the winter. And I've got to lay back about probably around $30,000 for them bridges too that are being built right now that we had the matching fund through the state. We had 4 bridges, Judge, that got approved, and I think they've started working on them, and I think our match was probably going to be around $30,000 on that. So, I'm hoping, John, that we won't spin down and run out before July.
Magistrate Dodson has a motion on the floor that if money is available and any of the magistrates that want to purchase equipment will be inspected by Mr. Branham and the road commissioner this evening or tomorrow. And you can make your determination, other magistrates can, if you want a piece of that equipment. As Magistrate Dodson said, we're not able, due to our budget, to buy any new equipment, so we certainly need to look at the surplus equipment that the state has to fulfill our needs.
Thank you.
Have a second. Second, Magistrate Johnson, have a roll call vote, please.
Mr. Anderson.
Yes.
Mr. Johnson.
Yes.
Mr. Murphy. Yes. Mr. Robinson. Mr. Dodson.
Yes.
Mr. Harris.
Yes.
Judge Rutherford.
Yes. Magistrate Harris.
Judge, over the weekend, I read in the newspaper that the county had requested $3.5 million in coal severance tax funds to begin work on a new community called Coal Mountain. And that came as a surprise to me, and the way the article read, it was that the county as a whole was requesting that this money, $43 million over a 4-year period, with $3.5 million of coal severance tax funds being requested this year. And I don't know if if the article is accurate or not, but I just wanted to go on record saying that I was not in favor of requesting coal severance.
That's only a wish list.
Okay, just one second. That I was not in favor of requesting that money for coal severance use. I have, in my district, we have very defined and very simple requests. We have a need for sewage, and we have specific projects that have been designed and that have been planned and that have been partially funded and that are waiting on additional funding to complete. And
that's listed on there, on the request. Let me tell you how it works. The legislators in past sessions, before the session, asked that my office, Jeannie gets a list, the magistrates, commissioners, nonprofits, and Coal Run and Elkhorn City gives a list to Jeannie. It's not changed one bit. What you turn in is on a wish list that goes to the legislators, which this is a law that has to be enacted by the legislature, signed by the governor. This is only a wish list, nothing else. Each commissioner, each director is asked to give what they would like to see happen in the future. Realistically, we know what's available, and it's probably around $12 million. But isn't it, Ms. Runyon? I think it's going to be somewhere around 11 something or $12 million that's available. And the legislators takes the wish list, and that gives them something to start working from. And then the requests are all looked at. This list is not changed, it's not added to, it's not done anything with other than fulfilling a request that's been made to us and passed before past sessions and this session.
Well, whose request is this from then? Because it's not from me. So who made this request for 3.5?
The engineers, I imagine, Mr. Carlton, was that figure come from a projection by the engineer firm?
It's a rough preliminary estimate of what the road would cost.
Where did that come from, the engineering firm?
It came from the engineers,
projection?
Yes.
But who requested it? I mean, whose project is this? Because it's not mine.
No, I'd say that it came from Mr. Carlton and based upon the engineer's projection.
I requested
only a wish list.
Okay, but what I'm saying is, Judge, when we make a wish list and you ask for $43 million over 4 years, it detracts and takes away from the possibility or the chances that some of these projects that are more viable, that are realistic, can get funded.
We haven't asked for anything. This court has not asked it for nothing. We just coordinated a list for our legislators only, nothing else. Wish list is a wish list.
Well,
period, nothing else.
I guess a wish list, it would be good if this court is going to put something together and make a wish list, that it be something that's realistic and not something that is unrealistic, like $43 million over a 4-year period.
You know,
we've got very simple and very direct requests that need to be met. Before we start building new communities, we need to take care of the communities that we have. And that's something that needs to be done. Those need to be our priorities. We need to have these things and prioritize. And $43 million to build a new
town.
town.
Legislators about your request. The nonprofits, we don't want to tell the nonprofits of what they think they need. We don't want to tell them if that's included. We don't want to tell Coal Run or Elkhorn City. They have their wishes. Well, we're not in the business to tell these people what they need to put in on a wish list.
I'll just say this, Judge. Everybody can speak for themselves, but speaking for myself and for District 6, you know, I don't support the funding of $3.5 million in coal severance money being used to develop a new community when we haven't taken care of the ones that we've got.
Let me add that no request has been made. It's only a wish list. Anybody else have any statements to make in regard to that?
Judge, I had another thing on here that.
Go right ahead.
I was hoping that you was going to try to get that curve lined out up there, where there'd been 4 people killed up at Millard. That's a well-needed thing. And there's a lady come in the courthouse the other day, and she works over at Pikeville, and she drives from Phelps every day. And she said, I've been working OR for 18 years, and I count every time somebody gets killed on that road. And she said they've been either 19 or 20 get killed from Phelps to Meta in the last 18 years. And she indicated, the dangers that we have with the big trucks, and it's more today than we've ever seen. We counted on the way over, there was 18 trucks setting to get dumped over at the Meta coal plant there beside of the road. And I was wondering if you could get a resolution wrote
do that.
to get
Magistrate
our
Dotson and I have talked in the past that it is a disgrace to this Commonwealth that the people who live in the Peter Creek area has to drive on the roads that they drive on daily. With the amount of coal and the amount of severance tax that has been paid into state coffers. Now, we're talking about the University of Pikeville wanting to come a state school. Back in the 70s, Magistrate Dotson, when I proposed the severance tax, all the money was to come back to the counties that produced the coal. Ended up, the state gave us 4% back and stole our money and put it in the state budget. And now we get 12% back. But it is a disgrace that we have to drive, that people have to drive to Phelps. It's a disgrace that we have to drive to Frankfort partway on a 2-lane road. And Governor Patton and I was talking, billions and billions, now that's billions with a B, has gone into state budget over all these years since Severance Tax Act was passed in the legislature and signed into law by the governor. Greedy governors, greedy legislators from out of this area took our future away from our children and grandchildren, and then these deaths that Magistrate Dotson is alluding to on that dangerous piece of highway was certainly could have been averted because we wouldn't have needed any money. We sat here and talk about our budget problems that we have today. If we would have got our money back that was mined, we got more than any other county. We paid 32% in, so we got more money back than any other county in the Commonwealth over the years. But it's a disgrace that we have to sit here. And yes, we'll draw it up and have it ready for the next court meeting.
I would appreciate that, Judge, and it might save another life. Now we're hauling coal in both directions, from here to Phelps and Phelps over this way. And 18-wheelers are constantly passing each other, and the roads are just not suitable to handle that kind of a load. And maybe you can send Representative Hall and Jones Senator Jones a copy of it and see if they can get something started. I know the budget is tight, but we might not see it, but maybe our kids and
well, that's the only area that's left isolated. You got the US 23 completed, you got 119 completed, you got 460 almost completed, will be completed in the next few years. And the only road we like to a populated area is into the Phelps area, and that certainly we ought to call it to attention of our legislators and the governor and those people in the legislature in Frankfort.
There's been a lot of people killed and hurt on that curve up on
Oh gosh, yeah.
For
years and years.
Kenneth, what I can find out, they've had since 2010 the money, and there's nothing been done about it yet. That's the way the newspaper wrote.
One little old boy from the school up where the Elk one, he wrecked on his sled, came out in a gravel truck.
Judge Hayes, do you have anything in regard to personnel today? Okay, Magistrate.
I'll make the motion then that we move into executive session pursuant to KRS 61-810 C and F.
Madam Clerk, have a roll
Need a
call.
second. Need a second.
Have a second? Me.
Okay, thanks. Magistrate Anderson. Magistrate Johnson.
Yes.
Magistrate Murphy.
Yes.
Magistrate Robinson. Magistrate Dodson. Magistrate Harris. Judge Ray.
That's Marriott. Yeah.
Need a motion to come out of executive session, please, on personnel. Motion, Magistrate Robinson. Do you have a second? Have a roll call vote.
Magistrate Anderson.
Here.
Magistrate Johnson. Magistrate Murphy. Magistrate Robinson. Magistrate Dodson.
Yes.
Magistrate Harris.
Here.
Judge Rutherford.
Yes. Judge Hayes, personnel, please.
Judge, personnel has the following recommendations: a posted job for loader, solid waste area number 2 at Belcher, a 2H pay rate, 2 bidders for that job, both temporary employees. The senior of the temporary is Donnie Thacker Jr., and that is the recommendation of personnel, that he be awarded that job. The second posted job, weed mowers with CDL, driver, road lot number 1 at Johns Creek, a 3H rate of pay job. We recommend that be passed for 2 weeks until some testing can be done by the road commissioner with regard to the capabilities of the 2 employees that bid. Next, Judge, Tony Roberts, one of our longtime employees, a supervisor in the solid waste department, has asked for an extension of unpaid sick leave, and it is the recommendation that personnel that he be granted through February 7th for his unpaid sick leave to extend. Next, we recommend the termination of a temporary employee, Jared Nichols, from solid waste area number 3. That termination effective on January the 9th, 2012. Next, we recommend the approval for Benny Crouch to temporarily replace Jack Hopkins as a light equipment / boom truck operator for the solid waste department at a 4H pay rate effective January 9, 2012. Jack Hopkins is temporarily replacing Tony Roberts, who is off on sick leave, and therefore that move is necessary for Benny Crouch. Next, we need approval to hire Angela DeBoard as a temporary employee as a magistrate area number 1 assistant at a 1A rate of pay. Effective January 3rd, 2012. The present employee in that position is off on sick leave. Finally, Judge, we would recommend the approval to hire Dehana Tackett as a temporary animal control helper at the animal shelter at a 2H rate of pay effective today, January 17, 2012. She would be replacing Mr. Donnie Thacker Jr., who was awarded the solid waste permanent position. That's the recommendations of personnel, Judge.
Is my recommendation and my motion to have a second. Have a second from Magistrate Robinson. Have a roll call vote, please.
Magistrate Anderson.
Yes.
Magistrate Johnson. Magistrate Murphy. Magistrate Robinson. Magistrate Dodson.
Yes.
Magistrate Harris.
Yes.
Judge Rutherford.
Yes. Magistrate Murphy brought to attention that the next meeting date is on the same time as the County Officials Legislative Conference in Frankfort. So we always attend that. So we will ask for a motion to have that moved to a special meeting at 10 o'clock. What date is that, Madam Treasurer?
7.
February the 7th, and we'll have that meeting at 10 o'clock in the morning.
Judge.
Motion, Magistrate Murphy. Have a second.
Second.
Have a second. Have a roll call vote, please.
Magistrate Anderson.
Do you want to say something, Leo? Oh, okay.
What day did we make that effective? The 3rd?
Mr. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson? Mr. Murphy? Mr. Robinson?
Yes.
Mr. Dodson? Mr. Harris? Judge Rutherford?
Yes. Judge Hayes, you had something else?
Yes, Judge, Finance just informed me that I need to amend my recommendation with regard to one of them, and that was the Angela DeBoard matter, the 1A as a magistrate's assistant for District 1. That is temporary, and that remains the same. I think I had stated it would begin January 3rd, 2012. It actually needs to back up, and I would amend my recommendation to begin on December the 27th, 2011. Finance informs me that's the actual date that she started to work.
Madam Clerk, would you note that correction?
Do they need to vote on that?
Madam Treasurer?
Do they need to vote on it?
Authorize any necessary transfers and interfund transfer to pay the bills, payroll, health, and life insurance.
Have a motion. Have a motion. Have a second. Have a second. Have a roll call vote, please.
Mr. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson? Mr. Murphy? Mr. Robinson? Mr. Dodson?
Yes.
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Judge Rutherford?
Yes.
Acknowledge receipt of the previously approved transfers and interfund transfers for November 15th, 2011, December 6th, 2011, December 20th, 2011, and January 3rd, 2012.
Do I have a motion? Have a motion. Have a second. Have a second. Have a roll call vote, please.
Mr. Anderson? Mr. Johnson? Mr. Murphy? Mr. Robinson? Mr. Dodson?
Yes.
Mr. Harris? Judge Rutherford?
Yes.
Authorize payment of the expenditure approval list dated January 13, 2012, and any other utility and telephone bills received before the checks are run. Plus, we also need to add Kentuckians for Better Transportation Incorporated. There were some additional registration fees for Magistrate Johnson, Bobby Branham, and Magistrate Dotson for $675, and then H2O Construction Incorporated, Scott Fork Industrial Park Utilities Contract 2, EQT Septic System, $27,225.
Judge, I have a couple questions about the expenditure approval list. On page 9, there is an expenditure for Dream House Furnishings for $599. It says it's an area rug. Just wondered what that was.
Matter of fact, on my copy, I've got it highlighted. Magistrate Anderson, I went over that list, I highlighted it, and I'm supposed to get a bill to look at to see what in the world that is. I don't know.
Well, we probably shouldn't pay it if we don't know what it.
That's for just a minute, proper experts. It's somebody's whole severance money. Which one?
I went over the list during the weekend, and I highlighted that myself. Damus, I also...
Irrigational department, I don't know which one that is.
Somebody get a $600 rug?
We need to get a copy of the invoice, and don't pay it till we get it.
Okay.
Okay?
The other question I had was MTJ America. It says mattress and pillow, $4,600.
Who was that?
For jail, replacing mattresses at the jail. Okay. Seemed like there was one more I had a question.
I think on the jailer's budget, we appropriate the money for him, and then we do have oversight, as we know, but we pretty well leave that up to him to spend his money. Am I correct? Is that what we've done?
Okay. That's all the questions I had.
Do we need to amend the motion for just excluding the one item, or?
Need a motion?
Is that?
Have a motion and a second? Have a roll call vote, Madam Clerk.
Mr. Anderson?
This will be to pay all the expenditures except for the $600 rug? Or $500, whatever it was.
I was the one who got the road.
That it?
So we had the community park, because I had a couple of them right with that, and I had just a special order for it. Had it go pack in all the dust and stuff. Nice road.
So,
Madam Clerk.
Okay, so do we need, I mean,
do
is
we
it,
pay the 600 then?
go ahead and pay it?
So we have no exception on the motion then?
His motion is accept. That.
Yeah, I'll withdraw my motion.
Madam Clerk, do you understand the motion?
I don't understand Jeff's withdrawing.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, right.
Oh, no, I'll withdraw my motion. Now that we know where it came from, that's fine.
Okay. Master Anderson,
What are we voting on?
this is to pay the whole thing.
That's fine.
Master Johnson? Master Murphy? Master Robinson? Master Dodson?
Yes.
Master Harris?
Yeah, abstain.
Judge Rutherford?
Yes. Madam Treasurer.
Back in May, we had issued a check to the Kentucky Historical Society. They sent it back because of the timing of how long it was going to be before they would be finalized with the marker. They have now sent a new revised invoice, so I need a check, authorized a check to the Kentucky Historical Society in the amount of $2,300 for the Liberty Historical Marker, which is being reimbursed from the ADF funds.
Madam Treasurer, that pass-through money goes through our budget. Have a motion. Have a motion, Master Robinson. Have a second. Have a second. Have a roll call vote, please.
Master Anderson? Master Johnson? Master Murphy? Master Robinson? Master Dodson?
Yes.
Master Harris?
Yes.
Judge Rutherford?
Yes. Madam Treasurer.
Authorize a check to the consolidated account from solid waste account from a check that was deposited in the wrong account from the U.S. Postal Service in the amount of $275 for the Majestic Post Office rent in November 2011.
Have a motion. Have a motion. Master Robinson, have a second. Have a roll call vote, please.
Master Anderson? Master Johnson? Master Murphy? Master Robinson? Master Dodson?
Yeah.
Master Harris?
Yes.
Judge Rutherford?
Yes.
Authorize the issuance of these checks for the NRCS buyouts when the funds are received to Blake and Associates Incorporated for appraisals, $9,600. Big Sandy Realty for appraisals, $2,400. Hensley Real Estate appraisal, $1,200. Walker Appraisal for technical reviews in the amount of $9,600.
Jeannie, that's pass-through money through our budget. Have a motion?
Motion.
Have a motion, Master Murphy. Have a second, Master Robinson. Have a roll call vote, please.
Master Anderson?
Yes.
Master Johnson? Master Murphy? Master Robinson? Master Dodson? Master Harris?
Yes.
Judge Rutherford?
Yes.
Acknowledge receipt of the Treasurer's November 2011 and December 2011 financial statements and the second quarter report for the period ending December 31st, 2011 for fiscal year 2011-2012.
Do I have a motion? Motion from Master Murphy, second. Have a roll call vote, please.
Master Anderson?
Yes.
Master Johnson? Master Murphy? Master Robinson? Master Dodson?
Yes.
Master Harris?
Yes.
Judge Rutherford?
Yes. Mr. County Attorney, do you have anything?
Nothing, Judge.
Judge, let me
Madam
interject
Treasurer.
that we get a lot of calls as soon as we have a court meeting concerning when the checks are going to be issued. According to the administrative code, it says that we have to the 25th of the month once bills are approved. So if the vendors would sort of calm down on calling us and wanting checks so bad so we can get work done, it'll probably be Friday before we'll have them ready, waiting to see what the coal and mineral severance checks are going to do.
Any other question, any other statement? If not, have a motion to adjourn. Have a motion, Master Robinson. Have a second. Have a roll call vote, please.
Master Anderson?
Yes.
Johnson? Master Murphy? Master Robinson? Master Dodson? Master Harris and Judge Rutherford?